It's just lies after lies and lies. I do not use crack cocaine. Mine here, mine. Yes, I have smoked crack cocaine. I'm the first one to admit I am not perfect.
Whenever you're assigned to do a Rob Ford story, you knew to expect the unexpected because you never knew what was going to happen. Every day the story changed. Every day there was something different, to the point where it became so unbelievable that even the most insane twist and turn in the story just became par for the course. What, if any drugs you've ever used in the past?
If the police are going to release the video, I want everyone to see it. I've said that before.
Are you saying the OPP won't find anything, Mayor Ford?
Okay, thank you. Please, can you please just let me get to my office?
It was as close to being a football player or getting into close combat as reporters probably ever will in the city covering a story, especially a political story. There were times where I couldn't even see the mayor in the scrums, and that my arm was just basically extended through to get the microphone in, and I had to twist my body in such a way that I could fit through all of the cameras and the reporters that were there. And then other times you were huddled down, kneeling down on the ground because that was the only way you could actually get in there.
Don't they deserve an explanation?
If there was a scandal and a politician is dealing with it, they hold a news conference and they face the media and they answer questions, or not, they make a statement. In Rob Ford's case, those things took place running down a hallway.
Move! Wait! Oh, fuck! Use the city resources! Hey! What the hell's going on?
It could be incredibly frustrating at times, thinking, why am I chasing the mayor of the largest city in Canada? Why am I chasing him down a hallway right now? But that's what ended up happening more times than we care to remember.
I got that whole thing. Okay.
It was difficult because there was a lot of times where we thought we should just back off the story and just leave Ford alone, give him his space. Sure, we had to cover it because it's not often that the mayor of the largest city in Canada goes into rehab. But then the times we would step back,
What production company are you with?
suddenly another media outlet may report something, or Ford himself would go to the media and put something out there. It was a tricky situation because we were dealing with our own decision-making process in the newsroom. Should we cover this? Is this important enough? Is this in the public interest?
Please welcome Mayor Rob Ford.
This was what people were talking about. We couldn't simply ignore it. It's very rare that you get a chance to be with him in a one-on-one setting. And there were a few times where you'd walk by and the mayor would be there and you'd come in front of him, and your first instinct throughout the last 2 years almost has been to throw a mic in his face and start yelling questions at him. But then there are always those times where, you kind of felt he was unguarded, and you just approached him as you would a regular politician, and he'd still just sort of chat, and his eyes would be downcast, and he'd know that we had our job to do and he had his role to play. But he sort of appreciated those points where we wouldn't go right after him right away. It was a press release from the hospital that was only about 2 or 3 sentences saying Rob Ford has checked in. And there has been a lot of speculation today, everyone trying to figure out just how serious this is. I think everyone's first inclination was, does this have to do with drugs or alcohol? And then we heard it was for abdominal pain. And then we realized perhaps this is taking yet another twist and turn in the story.
The plan will be initially chemotherapy.
Let's bring in Stephen D'Souza now, who's at the hospital this evening.
Mayor Ford has a pleomorphic liposarcoma, which is very rare, just makes up 1% of all cancers. Every day we would be standing in front of the office or even in front of the hospital later in the year, thinking, how have we gotten to this point and where could we go from here? And you shook your head because at certain points you thought, this is not what the job of journalists should be, but this is where the story has taken us, this is how the story has evolved, and this is where we need to be. For you personally, just when you were first given the news?
It's devastating. It's devastating all night.
None of us really wanted to be there, but that's just how things ended up. His legacy is perhaps the most interesting character that Toronto will ever see in its political history, perhaps in its history in general.
I answered all the questions. I say, yes, I did.
He is someone that, even when he wasn't causing controversies in terms of drugs or alcohol, just on a regular day, he would be an interesting person. And I remember when I first started covering City Hall about 7 or 8 years ago, one of my predecessors said to me, whenever Rob Ford gets up in council, always make sure your camera's rolling because you never know what he's going to say. And that had held true whether he was talking about potholes or whether he was talking about rumors that he had had an affair with a staffer. So you just never knew what Rob Ford was going to say.
I've been at City Hall 14 years, 10 years as a councillor, 4 years as mayor. Everything I said I was going to do, I have done. 23?
He brought a lot of people into politics.
Appreciate the support.
And put Toronto politics into the spotlight worldwide.
There's Eric Garcetti holding someone's baby. There's Rob Ford holding somebody's baby.
But in the city as well, for good or bad, he engaged a lot of people in this city.
I want to sort of go totally out of order and ask everybody in this room to move a motion thanking Rob Ford for his continued public service. All in favor, say aye. Carried unanimously.
He, I think, ultimately always had the best of intentions in his heart. Whether it came across that way, only history will be able to judge that.